14 miles. We gotta, guys. We gotta get together and kind of do a Come on, you guys. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. We live, guys.
Is the fact that we live?
Okay. Yeah.
The fact that you
We are live.
Are we live?
Yes.
She ain't gonna say nothing.
We are. Come on, guys. We just chilling. So yeah.
Guys, welcome to the round table.
That's right.
Podcast. I don't know if we like,
but guys,
what I'm about to say was this:
we should do a little.
Is it the fact that you never tried it, or the fact that you just don't want to try it in terms of sushi? What do you think? Honestly.
I looked at it and it looked like something I don't want to eat.
That's right. And I was that way. But what are you?
Sushi is good.
Have you ever? So you never tried
the vegetables? What about vegetable sushi?
She never tried it out. Let me ask you this. Then.
Okay, we gotta go. We gotta all go out, y'all.
Rice? Are you a rice? Do you like rice?
Yes.
Okay, so
you like vegetables?
You like vegetables?
Yes.
Okay, I know you just said about the seaweed. Sometimes seaweed wrapped up in seaweed. You should just at least try one. Just try. I mean,
we gonna go out. We all gonna go out.
Yeah. Try one just to see if you like it or not. Dip it in a sauce. I got a spot. Man, them sushi's not that big. Yeah. Because normally they probably about.
Yeah. That
this
little.
spot is about this big.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're a little expensive. I mean, because it is what it is. I think we pay about $50, $55.
But we get like a soup as well. We get a ramen soup.
Nice ramen.
Just y'all two, y'all and the kids.
Me.
Or just me and my wife. We get the ramen because they do their own thing. We get the ramen.
We don't do everything with the. We don't do everything with the kids. Like we gotta have a life too. Now come on now.
Not no more.
Y'all do it with the kids no more.
No.
14-year-old.
No.
Go to the mall.
No, we gotta have our own life too. Now, come on now.
I told my wife we got to look at each other now.
That's right.
Each other. Guys, welcome to the Round Table Podcast.
Hey,
guys,
what up?
Listen, where we take this time to eat. Guys, listen, it is one of those things you might hear us talking about different foods, and that should be another topic, and even in the
yes, we are. Yes,
learning how to eat healthy.
That's right.
I mean, because at the end of the day, you only have one of you, and you want to take care of you at the best that you can take care of you. But even then, you guys, listen, we're going to go around the table, introduce everybody. Who we have? I mean,
Hey, I'm Lady B, guys.
Lady B here.
I do comedy. Check me out on Instagram at Bullies Be Like 1.
That's right.
Bullies Be Like. You will see all of my episodes, guys.
Who else we got here at the round table? We got RW3. We got Lady T. What's it?
Lovely T.
See, I'm gonna call myself Lovely.
I'm Lady B. That's Lovely T.
Who else we got? We got Lovely T.
RW3 and his nizzle.
Oh, okay.
No doubt. No doubt.
Go ahead.
This is Lovely T, CEO, president of Tender Lifted Hope.
That's
LLC,
right.
coming at you real soon.
That's coming at you
That's
real
right.
soon. Guys, we have talented people. I don't know why they don't want to express their talent.
They don't.
We have talented people, Listen, whether it's even through the music industry or whatever they might be.
Oh yeah, we're gonna put one of his videos up one day.
We have a talent. There's talent here. I mean, it's not
Walk with me, Jesus.
People just here, just sitting around. We definitely won't play that one.
That's right.
That one.
That's
right.
These bills, they are just. I don't know. We just got to believe God.
That was so terrible. I just said, God, just thinking about it. But it is what it is. Guys, listen. Today's topic we're going to get into. Yeah. Before we say that, we want you to like and subscribe.
That's right.
Share. Like and share this page. Guys, we really need you to like us.
That's right.
We really need you to share this to other individuals. This is a hot topic that we're going to talk about today.
Mm-hmm.
And, we want you to leave your comments. What do you think? Listen, today, guys, on this topic, I want your opinion.
We need some comments, guys. We need to hear from you guys. Come on.
We got RW3. He's
stop
really,
acting shy.
Yeah, he's really the. He's want to thank you for. coming to the page, the whole 9 yards, guys. But we need your participation.
Yes, we do.
We really do, and we welcome your participation.
Yes, we do. Yes.
This page and everything. So, what is the topic that we have?
So our topic is my boyfriend is a deadbeat father.
Wow.
So we're gonna be discussing. My boyfriend has 3 kids with 3 different women. The first 2 he had when he was 20 years of age, and the kids are 7 months apart. He said he did not know the other woman was pregnant until the first baby was 1 year old. He lived with the mother of his second child for 5 years, and they broke up because she wanted him to work and forget about his basketball career. His third child he had with his wife, he asked her to marry him 2 weeks after meeting her. The marriage lasted 1 month and ended over a financial disagreement. So should she marry him? Because he's not involved in the children's life. He's a deadbeat father. So should she marry him? I don't know.
What do you think, guys?
I mean, she's conflating the deadbeat dad is one piece. She never really spoke about their relationship. I mean, is it a deal breaker that because he's a deadbeat dad, that's a deal breaker for her to marry him or not?
But she did say that he has a good relationship with his first child, but he's absent from the other 2. But he's absent from the other 2. So he does pay child support, but that's it. For that, that's it.
Some men, that's their definition of being present in their child's life is the fact that they pay child. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not a man, but they're like, hey, I pay child support, so that's their
That's an escape, right?
And she has children, right? The person who made the comment, does she have any children?
No.
Because my thing is this, if she loves him and desires to marry him, and that's very important to her. Prior to getting married, that's something that they should address, because if he's failing to care for his children, ultimately that might be part of his character. Right. And at some point he may not be who he needs to be for her. Right. I don't know, so that's something that would need to be discussed, I think. Yeah,
I thought the same thing in terms of
okay, we do got a comment
about fatherhood. Does she have children that she's trying to raise, and or is she thinking that, if he's acting this way in this part of his life, it'll kind of transcend over into...
What's the comment?
Okay, this is a comment. I don't understand it. It's from Kathy. She said, really? You have to act shame? Deadbeat is just that. Deadbeat dad. Next, a dead husband. Get the hell out. I don't understand.
Yeah. No, I understand what you're saying.
You understand? Okay.
She's
thanks,
saying,
Kathy.
But
yeah,
Kathy,
thanks.
Shout out to Kathy. But I guess what I'm seeing that she's saying is that if you knew this joker was a deadbeat from the beginning, why would you marry him so he can be a deadbeat?
Or even start a relationship, or even...
Yeah, why would you
okay.
It's not possible to be a good partner in one way. Like, if you look at it like roles, some people can be good, like flipping it, you can be a horrible husband, but be an absolute wonderful father.
That's right.
So
that's right.
Maybe you're a horrible father,
that's right,
but you're able to be a wonderful husband. I'm just saying, is there room for that to
But
exist?
now you look at the word deadbeat. So deadbeat means you're not active.
You're not paying child support for the other, 2 children. He's paying child support for 1 child, but not the other 2, and he's not.
That's a character flaw.
But I'm gonna say this: to the degree that this person will come on and say, "Should I marry them?" knowing the history, because it's quite obvious that she gave us a background of this guy. She knew all the details of this, who he dated, the kids.
Right.
Now you should know you taking a chance.
Yeah.
Because this could happen to you.
Well, I mean,
I think it's another statement. When I was kind of reading it, it said, I think she was concerned about she's concerned that does he love her for what she has or for her? And that's another concern she had there too.
That's what I would be questioning, because it's not just the kids. It's like, okay, so he was pursuing this career in basketball and married quickly before. Like, there's some other things that she didn't delve into but mentioned that would be red flags all the way around.
Yeah,
we got some more comments too.
The fact that you would mention the word basketball career, you know how.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like,
pursuing it.
This is like somebody say, "Hey, baby, I got this rap. I'm trying to get this rap off."
I got a comment from the Shia. It said if he's not taking care of his children, it would definitely make me question his character.
The Shia, thank you very much. I agree with you. I think it's a character. I think it's a character issue.
How so, though?
Because
there's different situations where if we don't know what role the mothers play in terms of pushing a wedge between her kids and him.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Oh, okay. There
could be reasons why he doesn't have this close relationship that haven't been, that we're not aware of. Because I mean, it happens. Moms talk real bad about the fathers, or put them in a real bad light.
But yet, still though. But let me say this though. Let me say this. Again, not knowing the specifics. A lot of guys, that I know, don't go about the court way. So, like in my situation, I'm in the court, so I don't care what you say.
Right.
We have something on paper. I'm going to have a relationship with my child, and it's on paper. And if you don't, you're going to be violating the court order, and you're going to get locked up. So this stuff about, you can say what you want to say, but this is my child. I'm going to be involved. Right. So if you go to the court system, a lot of times they don't go to the court system because they want to pay child support. So they want to stay away from it. No, I'm going to child support. What do I need to pay? Let's get this thing going early. So I have my visitation, and you can't do anything about it. So and if you do that early enough, because oftentimes, since you said the mother can give this negative energy to the child about the father when they get older. But I'm saying, if the child is younger, 2 or 3, and I'm in the court early, I'm involved.
But you took the steps to do. I mean, so you're putting yourself from your perspective, you're a responsible parent. You want to be, you know what I mean? I'm just saying that.
I don't want to make excuses for him. And it sounds like that's what you're doing.
I'm not making excuses.
That's what it sounds like.
I'm just saying that different people exist out there.
Yeah.
And,
no, they do.
And I go back to just because he's a sucky father doesn't necessarily mean he would be a sucky husband.
Now let me say this before you jump in, Tony, to this. Because I think there are some things like, I'm just going to let's use tone, right? Some things I think are threads through your character that spills into other. So like Tone, knowing him like a person of integrity. So I've dealt with him in many different ways, personal, business, church. So he has a thread that all those things he operate in across boundaries. So my thing is, if you are someone who you love, that you can be okay with abandoning them without caring for them, I think that's a thread that can spill over in other areas. And I think there's something that can, in your wife. For one, but not the other two. So what?
So I wonder why he's not paying for the other two. That's a question. Why he's not paying for the other two, but he's paying for one?
The other two out of court, so it's not.
Now, let me ask you this: do you believe? Now, let me ask you this: do you believe that? Is it best to deal with those type of situations? I'm talking about child support. Should we deal with it outside of the court or deal with it within the court system? And I'm talking about as the man, because see, what's his name? Judge, what's the black guy?
Brown, Joe Brown
from Detroit.
Mathis.
Judge Mathis.
Yeah.
He always used to say. He always used to say, listen. You better deal with the court system in terms of child support because you need a record. Because then you have the different individual, whether it be woman or man, that would probably say that you're not paying, you're not doing what you should do. So now if you got a record showing, and if it's the court, it makes you, it's more identifying. I can identify that he's telling the truth. You get what I mean? Can we say that in saying that is... Like, what is the means of saying that I'm a deadbeat dad? I mean, what does that mean? Like, is it coming from the woman because me and her got different, disagreements? She don't like me, I don't like her. So now you just putting me out there as a deadbeat father? I mean, what is it that determines a deadbeat dad? What do you think? What is a deadbeat father?
I mean, for me, there's just not doing anything.
Anything.
It's not even about the money. Okay. So it is about the money, but it's not about the money.
Right.
If you are contributing what you can financially, but more importantly, you're showing up when you need to.
Right.
For me, that's what counts.
That's what counts.
A deadbeat dad.
So if you paying child support, what if that deadbeat dad or whoever, what if he's contributing child support
but not being there?
It's not being in the child's life. Is that deadbeat or not? Which one is considered deadbeat?
Both. You need to be both.
Lovely T.
Come on, Lovely T. What you think?
Robert seems to think it's both.
So
hold on. I just think, since we're not, what's the scientific term where you're just you have a unit? I forgot what it's called. You have a baby on your own, like unit one cell, where you can reproduce on your own.
Oh,
humans asexual. We're not asexual. So in terms of creation, it takes two of us to create the child. So that means that it takes both of us to create the best environmental outcome for that child. So both parties.
Okay, so we got a comment
financially.
We got a comment, guys, too.
And paternally and maternally for the child to have the best potential possible outcome. Otherwise, you could be asexual.
I mean, I totally.
So we got a comment, guys, from my sister-in-law. All right. Hey, Odina Cardin, that's what's up. What up? Undina. Okay. But I call her Dina. Okay, she said, why would you marry him knowing he's a deadbeat, setting yourself up for failure?
Well, that's the thing.
Go ahead.
Thanks,
so
Dina.
I believe that the signs are already there. But at the same time, we can ignore those signs because we want to be with a man.
Yeah.
Or we want to be with a woman. You know what I mean? And I think that we can easily get trapped up in that situation, whether it's sexual, you laying it down, she laying it, whatever it might be, or it could be money, finances, where, she can support me, he can support me, and we get caught up in that. You get what I mean? I don't think it's, I just don't believe, unless you blindsided, you don't see the signs. Or then you got some people, back in the day used to be this thing where men used to say, oh man, she was cool until we got married. Then she just put on a whole new mask, she became this villain.
Wow.
I mean,
Or the vice versa.
Vice versa. But what I'm saying is that sometimes you're just not looking hard enough. It is there. You're just not looking at it. But my thing is, deadbeat can be construed in so many different ways.
What's your definition?
Well, deadbeat.
Well, deadbeat is not the fact that you're contributing to child support. My thing is that you're there mentally for your child.
Wow.
Mentally, physically, you're there for them. Our job is to teach that child, to train that child. I believe that the husband and the wife have a different responsibility. Mine is to discipline, where my wife is, I believe my wife is to teach. You get what I mean? To nurture, and that woman, you giving her all of that. But mine is to show, here's a disciplinary situation, I got to lay it down. But if they're not getting that, now I think that from the male, then you're considered to be a deadbeat because you're dead in that child's life. You're not you're not training them, you're not raising them. So you are.
So what if that other person get married, that of that deadbeat, father or whatever? What if they get married?
What do you mean?
You know
it
what
still
I'm saying?
should continue on.
The deadbeat dad gets married,
or
the mother of the child that
gets married.
What if she gets married?
So would that person still be considered deadbeat?
Yes, that absolve you of your parental responsibility.
Situation don't change. You're still a deadbeat.
What if the kids? What if there's like geographical distance? You know what I mean? So he can't physically
be there all the time.
That's money. Well, but I'm saying in terms of like the
social media, cut all that out now.
Well, but this is social
put
media.
That camera on them.
Okay, give us the excuse. The next excuse. Continue with your excuse again. Go ahead. What was you saying? What of what?
I am just creating room for those. I don't know if there would be anomalies. I actually think they're more regular than we think. I mean, you guys are talking about the ideal situation where you're married and, like I said, but for you who or people like you who are, you know, pretty active and can be and will be in their children's lives. I just think there's situations out there that exist where men do that. You can only give what you have to give. Okay, so if you
now, what do you mean when you say that?
Yeah, please break that down to us. Tell us.
Break that down.
Yes.
Let's say you were an addict for most of of your children's adolescence life. You were not able.
No, see, she back to the sugar. Tone, she Lord have mercy.
I was like, okay, that's a disability now.
All right, we listening. Go ahead.
Okay.
You paraplegic. Go ahead. Oh my goodness. I mean, come on. We listening. Go ahead.
All right.
There are situations that exist. I'm just saying that. I mean, especially if it was in a person's past, and they're willing to accept responsibility at the stage that they're with this current person. Yeah. Perhaps they're what do you call them? What's the biblical term for sins?
Reprobate.
Iniquities.
Okay.
Iniquities can be forgiven, and they're ready to move forward and be something better in this new world.
We cool with that. I mean, we right.
But you see, it doesn't negate the fact that you're not living up to those responsibilities. Change a relationship shouldn't change your child.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know that at the table. But you have those individuals who haven't came to that change where they still want to be. Like, I know guys, I'm sure you know guys, they still want to be that player. Well, they don't want to hold the responsibility of taking care of their child. They're still out there. And then you hear a lot of this, I wasn't ready. So what happened? Now, listen, how many situations do we know, young mothers, we just go to the teens. You have young mothers who have babies, and the young girl is always the one who have to take care of the child.
That's right.
And then they look into your family members in every situation for them to help you raise their child. But the guy never gets. They never turn to him to say, hey, listen, or even go to their mother or their father.
That's right.
I mean? I mean, it's...
You're right, man. My mom, when I was a teenager, my mom just said all the time, I might see a girl, she say, look, don't let my son get you pregnant. Because I ain't take...
That's right.
You know, my mom would have that mindset. Right. She'd be like, you know, and I didn't do it.
We learned that at a young age to be a deadbeat.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Are we trained that way because of our parents not really drilling us?
Well, I think that's a good question. I think generationally we've looked at different systematically how the family has been broken down.
Yeah.
And, you know, depending on who you ask, which systems, you know, have contributed to that the most. Some would say the welfare system, for example, where you couldn't have a man in the house.
That's right.
When the social worker came by.
That's right.
So different things have come down throughout history that have broken that. And then you had this, like, I don't need a man phase.
That independence. I'm independent.
Everybody need a man, everybody need a woman.
And so you had, I would say, like my parents' generation, to me, it seemed like the divorce rate exploded. So you had a lot of married couples getting divorced, single parenting, fathers not around. I think with my parents' generation, with my generation, I think a lot of boys who grew up without their fathers got tired of that and decided that, no, I'm not going to be like my dad. I'm going to be more active. So I see a lot more men in my cohort who are active in their children's lives. But that wasn't always the case.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Throughout.
Now, let me ask you this. Now, China. Let's go to China. You know, I was looking at a documentary or whatever it is. They have this system where it's called, it's not the credit system, it's the human credit or something like that.
Social credit.
The social credit, where they give you points based on your lifestyle. What you buy, what you go in the store and buy, obviously your credit score, how you treat people. You get it. And listen, if you fall up under a number, there's certain limitations that you can't have. Like there's certain stores you can't shop in. There's certain trips that you're not allowed to take because of your social credit. That's what it's called.
Yep, social.
Listen, they'll say if you buy drinks, alcohol, they'll say you're dependent. So your points are dropped.
Yep.
They said if your credit score, they said your social behavior, what you buy, and the whole 9 yards. Now, and guess what? They'll even lock you up, allegedly. They'll even lock you, because I'm not for sure, but I thought I heard they'll even lock you up based on what you think in your mind. That you can make these things happen. Why am I even saying that? Well, what if they add something out that women and men can detect what type of person that you are in order for me to date you? Would that be?
Now, would that be? Let me ask you a question from a female's perspective. Would that be judging him? That's how he's deadbeat. I'm not gonna marry. Would that fall in that category?
Would the woman be judging?
Judging him?
If
Like she's using the whole deadbeat. I'm not, should I marry him or not?
Because she's not
she's not perfect either.
Lives.
Is she fearful that other women will judge her?
No, I'm actually her having that perspective is that in the realm of judging
him
because she's not
well,
perfect
she's
either.
just trying to be concerned about. She gotta live her future with this person, so she needs to. Check all those things before she decide to make that decision. So
it's legitimate.
Well, I think to your point, I think the fact that she labeled him a deadbeat, she already kind of knows the answer to her question.
Yeah. But can we use that word loosely?
She would have refrained. She would not have presented him as a deadbeat.
Yeah.
She would have said, well, maybe I'm.
Yeah, that does present. That gives us a whole different picture.
Yeah.
Generally, when we even started the discussion, deadbeat.
Boom.
Well, it seems like she went more strongly on the term of him not being able to take care of his kids. I heard a lot of that. He got kids over here, he ain't taking care of kids over here, he ain't taking.
3 different mamas.
Yeah. Now, is that determined deadbeat?
Because you gotta consider age. I don't think. Most of the time, if you pass your 40s, if you're dating, you're gonna 9 times out of 10 people you're dating are gonna have kids. They're gonna have a history.
That's right.
So
it could be the baby mama situation that doesn't deter that you're supposed to be able to get that person some. Yeah, I don't know, but I've seen on shows where you have fathers who be like, I'm not giving you no money because you're going to take it and get your hair done, your nails done. I want to be able to place it in the child's hand. Do you believe that if it was a situation where there was an account built up where the man had more access to make sure that the funds actually go to the child, that you have a lot of women not complaining as much because of the fact that, because I'm going on, even though we stand on deadbeat, I'm just trying to put a little bit more energy in it. I guess my thing is that, should we say, is that word used a little bit more loosely, to use the word deadbeat? And is it from your perspective? Because you're not allowing
We got some comments too.
Let's get some comments
Let's
going.
get the comments going.
All right, we have from Diane Ladybug Curry. She said, hey Diane.
Ladybug.
She said, there is a lot of unknown factors, but being a deadbeat is a deal breaker. You must pursue the relationship with the child on some level, regardless.
So what I'm hearing is a lot of individuals are speaking out that deadbeat is placed with not taking care of your children. I think I hear a lot. Do you guys hear that from some of the comments? We're putting deadbeat as in not taking care of your child. Is that the term for deadbeat?
I don't know. Look, they got this official one said something about deadbeat mom or dad who parented a child and intentionally fails to pay child support ordered by a family law court or statutory agency such as child support agency.
So they reflected it
to finance part of it.
That's what I'm saying. There are some
But I'm gonna go to the Urban
there,
Dictionary though. That was
there
I'm
are
gonna find the
some
Urban
men out
Dictionary.
there, and maybe it was the way they were raised.
Right.
I don't know, but they feel like the provider, right?
Yeah, right.
So as the provider, if I'm giving you money,
right.
It's like you said in a way, it's your job as the mother to kind of raise the kid. I'm the provider. I'm giving you money every month, so I'm good. I've done my part.
That's right.
Some men they think that financial
But they think that's enough. But I think that's still deadbeat to me.
So
I still think that's deadbeat to me.
What?
No.
Well,
now the Urban Dictionary, ours says a parent or someone who calls himself a parent who does nothing for their child yet calls themselves the child's parent.
Okay, so going by definition, I think we using the word loosely. Because my thing is that we're putting a specific situation. We're saying that you're a deadbeat if you don't do this. So now let me throw this out there. Do you think you're a deadbeat if you're not financially, you don't have the money? Let's just keep it 100.
Okay, if you don't have
the money, but you're in your child's life, meaning you're talking with them, you're bringing them over to the house, you're trying to teach them the best way you know how.
Only way you're in that case, you're not a deadbeat if you don't have a job, you're in your child's life, and you looking. If you in your child's life, you just kicking it at the house, deadbeat. Deadbeat.
Oh my goodness.
So you cannot be working, be at home, but you're the one that's watching the child while the mother is out at
I thought we were talking about when they're not together in terms of
No,
deadbeat.
Mama is dropping the child off to you and your mama's house because you staying at home with your mama. and you're not interested in getting a job, but you're still in your way being supportive to the situation and how you can.
Deadbeat.
So
oh my goodness.
I'll tell you why.
Go ahead.
Because we all know as parents, the cost for the financial resources necessary for a child, you generally need two people kind of making that contribution.
You do.
I mean, so no, I don't care if you're at the house. You need to get a gig.
So
we got some more comments.
So are you saying
deadbeat?
Oh yeah, we got some. We got some from Albany Daniels. Her name is Ebony. She said not all.
Hey, Ebony, you talking about some E?
She said not all judgment is negative. Judgment is necessary in all aspects of our lives. Judging your partner's parenting seems crucial when considering a long-term relationship.
All right, that's good.
We got another comment too that just popped up too.
What is it? What is
all right, we got one from Sandra.
What's up,
Sandra Brown.
Hey, Sandra.
There can be a lot of dynamics involved. My older son father stayed out of town. He told me after he got older, he would rather have the time spent instead of the money and the name brand shoes his dad would buy him.
That's a big thing.
Hold on.
Does she consider him a deadbeat?
Sandra, do you consider him a deadbeat? Could you follow up that comment? Do you consider him a deadbeat? Now, what was you saying?
Go ahead. Hold on. Let me just say this. Well, I guess when I'm hearing, she's going to comment. He's saying that he'd rather have his considered quality time. It's not because I'm handing you finances, but I'm in your life giving you.
But I thought he lived out of town.
Hold on, that's what I'm saying. No, he said he wish he was. So that means bringing him in town, whatever it might be. I guess the defining moment is that he's saying that he wish he would have spent quality time more physically and mentally, more so than financially.
Okay.
And that does make a difference because, listen, I'm not. Who said that? Allegedly, I'm gonna throw that.
Allegedly,
I believe 50 Cent and his son. I guess she will call and be like, he need the latest shoes and all this old stuff, and them shoes cost a lot of money. Right. And can you say that means that you're not a deadbeat because you giving your son the latest shoes, and versus you sitting down conversating with him and say this is why you shouldn't follow this trend because you don't need the latest shoes. You get what I mean? You just need some quality shoes. I get that you're gonna get laughed at, talked about. See, I think that we put our own definition of deadbeat up, and it doesn't really make sense. Okay.
So Sandra responded.
Good. What did Sandra say?
She said, "My son wanted to spend more time."
Okay,
that's what she said.
She wanted to spend more time. So, and that's a fact. Cause now listen. Oh, see, now we about to go there. I'm not gonna throw no names. Just recently got this conversation to me. Probably in the last couple of weeks, where the son, it was brought to my attention that the son said when he see his father, he gonna knock him in the face.
Mm-hmm.
And
it was more than that. Kill him.
I'm just keeping it clean. And the reason why is because he's not in his life. He's not spending time with him. He didn't say he didn't give me no money.
Yeah.
He said that it's because
that's right.
Now, what I will conclude.
Now, what if his father say, "I tried," but your mother.
We're gonna call Lovely T today. We're gonna call her excuse queen today. Lord have mercy.
Well, she just trying to bring different options. You know, she just.
Lord have mercy.
I get that, but in this situation, I know the situation.
Okay, you know the situation.
So I kind of know where he is, and he's not spending time with him. Okay. But listen. This is the narrative. This is the story. It makes a bit different. It may not to you, because you have so many fathers who would say, hey, listen, as long as I'm giving you some money, I'm good. Right. And it's because I don't want to spend time. I'm too lazy to go pick you up. I'm too lazy to talk with you. I'm too lazy, and I don't want to do that, so I'm brushing it off. That's
dead beat.
And I think that we need to look at. Well, I'm going to say this. I'm going to go on record to believe. I believe. I'm going to have to call it dead.
That's dead.
I'm going to have to call it dead. Only because what's valuable is that I'm pouring into your life. Right. I think that's more valuable than I'm giving you a couple of dollars.
Yeah, or some shoes.
Into your life.
I don't disagree with all. I don't disagree with what you're saying. I'm just trying to create room for variations of, because like you said, we're using deadbeat loosely.
Yes, we are.
So according to your definition, it is someone who is doing nothing.
Not my no.
To the definition.
No, I don't get them white folks. I got my own definition.
Oh, okay.
Right.
But
I just read what they said. Right.
That's the person that's doing absolutely nothing.
That's right.
Okay.
So to me, that's a deadbeat. And there's plenty of fathers and mothers out there that aren't doing anything.
They aren't doing it. So now, what do you call that guy? He's young. I'm about to draw him out now. Typical, where the girl meets him, they have the baby, he's not really working, she's working, he come home, he's probably babysitting and playing video games.
Right.
But he said, wait a minute now, when you come home, I got the dinner cooked, I may be playing video games, I'm watching the baby, and that should be enough. Is that considered a deadbeat?
To me, that's not. He's in that given point in time, he is supporting the situation to some degree. Now, should she be satisfied with that? I mean, that's a personal choice. I wouldn't be satisfied with that.
That's right.
Okay, but I'm not going to say that he's a deadbeat.
Yeah.
It's not like he's sitting on his butt smoking weed all day,
right.
and she still got to go out and find a babysitter and do all of this, and he's like non-existent.
So if in fact that scenario, all of the needs are met, and some of the wants for that family,
that's right.
He's not deadbeat. Yeah. But if she's struggling and they just struggling, deadbeat, sir.
Yeah. And that makes sense. I agree with
right. If everything is good to go, right. But if she's struggling, she's tired, and when I mean all the needs are met, her emotion, like if she's working all the time, she's going tired, and she hasn't had the energy or whatever to maternally pour into her child or the children. I mean, what can you contribute to take some of that off? And I put that in the deadbeat family.
Well, I guess what I was about to say, the agreement. What is the agreement in the household?
Right.
Do you say that, listen, I'm going to do the work, I know I'm college educated. I can go out and get a decent job. You right now, I know you're working on some things, but until then, this is what I need you to do. Take care of the kids, make sure they're eating. All I want to do is go come home.
With you,
that's right.
And you had a criminal record.
That's right. And you can't get certain jobs.
Exactly.
So now I can get the understanding in that area if we come to the agreement. But if there's no agreement and you just say this works, well, I'm going to stay home, play these video games. I'm going to watch the kid. I'm going to have John Boy right beside me, putting the bottle in his mouth, and I'm going to be working on it while you out there working. Now you a deadbeat. In fact, now I'm going to ask you
He
this.
might be a deadbeat, but is he a deadbeat dad? I think that's a...
because if he's having a problem finding a job, if he's out there trying to find a job and nobody's giving him a job, and he's taking care of the kids while he playing his video games,
Could he be taking advantage of that, though?
I mean, he could
because she's not saying anything. He's taking advantage of it, just saying, I'm going to chill. This is working for me. I'm taking it.
You ain't got no job. You look for a job, you ain't got time to play no video game. You need to be online. Indeed.com.
That's right. Indeed.com.
Or Monster.com.
When you come back into the house, hey baby, I need $50 because I need to go handle this business. So now, you might be a deadbeat.
And he don't cook nothing at home. All that he in the house playing video games and ain't cooking no food when you get home. That's deadbeat.
See, I think he could be a deadbeat dad. I'm talking about. See, this is my thing. But let me ask you this. But can you say there's a difference between trying and not trying?
Oh, absolutely.
So that's what I'm saying. The person who, they saying that they're not getting a job because they're not really looking, but they use it as an excuse. She making about $70,000, $60,000 a year. They living in a low, moderate home, whatever. I know she can afford to take care of that. He knows that too. So he riding the wave.
But like you say, if it's the agreement and everybody's happy in the household, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
But the fact that she called him a deadbeat, she has already judged. Like you said, she's already judged him.
Her perspective.
Yeah, she's already judged him, and that's why I'll go back to my point I made in the beginning. If she thinks that she has to weigh her pros and cons, right? She has to weigh her pros and cons.
Right.
She has to determine if this is a deal breaker for her.
That's right.
Because he could be great in other areas and fulfill her.
Don't say bad. Don't say
she right. His package, like she said last week.
You laying it down,
right.
Be okay.
Okay, somebody, Sandra said, she said modeling. Oh, it disappeared. Hold on. Modeling poor or debilitating behavior is deadbeat.
Say that again.
Modeling poor or debilitating behavior is deadbeat.
Thank you, Sandra. Say that again to Lovely T.
You saying that
thank you, Sandra.
And I will conclude that you are, if you're not, okay, so if
Sandra,
you're not giving to this relationship.
That was ideal.
Okay. Yeah. I mean it is. If okay, so let's digress from that.
Realist.
Let's digress from that. Let's look at this. Can we say most men that are deadbeat dads, it's because of what's been going on in their life, even to childhood? It wasn't.
I think it
there was a lack
yeah,
of
some mental things.
If you have detachment disorders or abandonment issues,
rejection,
all those kind of things, and you never really learned how to build bonds.
That's right.
Healthy bonds.
That's right.
You can't. Again, it goes back to what I said. You can only give what you have to give, and that's kind of what I mean. Like,
well, let's say this then. Okay, hold on. Let's add this, because I think you have that historical piece to it, but in terms of that behavior, do the female contribute to the continuation of it in terms of holding him accountable? Because because she doesn't have to. In some cases, my thought is, and with guys, they've exhibited some of those detachment issues with them walking together. She's aware.
That's right.
And she still made a choice to have a child with this person.
That's true.
So he's continuing something they learned, and she reinforces it in that relationship that he has with the lady.
But the fact that they're with you means that he's reached a level of first of all, of awareness of his issue and a certain level of accountability and willingness to work on it.
Wow.
A lot of men.
We're assuming that.
But he came to see you, right? He came to see you.
Well, can I ask you this?
That was a step.
He about to ask you a question. He's asking you a question.
Let me ask you this. Now, those individuals that come to see him, because I don't know, are they married or they just? Are they married or
are they married?
I'm just kidding.
Well, not married.
Okay. Okay. So let me ask you this. So let me pull from that. Can we say that a lot of times we're so caught up in the way this person looks that we don't consider anything? I've heard women, it's through social media, when they say, well, boy, he's just so fine. I just had to. You get what I mean? It's always that.
Let him break me off, something proper
so
like.
He laid it down, so forget everything
else. Right.
No, one way. One way.
Well, no,
one way.
Yeah, that's true. And then they come to find out later on
one way.
and hell break loose.
Can you say you were blindsided by looks and physical, that's physical attraction, and the way you wear me out. You get what I mean? You wear me out.
He said, I was caught up in physical attraction.
It was something that a man.
My
So I think it is. I mean, I think that happens a lot. I think it happens a lot.
Yeah.
Especially in this culture of
should it
up.
though? Should we teach our kids that? Listen. Okay, he may be ugly. I mean, come on. He may be ugly. He may be from this, but the guy got an 800 credit score. He take care of business. He got a bank account, and he was waiting on his wife. He got 100,000 in. I'm not saying that always will happen. He got 20,000 in the bank. Hell, he got 5,000 in the bank. And he listen. Shouldn't we change the narrative?
But he's a deadbeat dad.
I'm trying to figure out why my phone bill's so high.
Before we get there, should we start helping our kids change the narrative? This storyline, exactly about what's important, and him being able to take care of you. Instead of saying that if he's fine, he got braids in his hair, he can rap, he wears pants low to the ground, it don't matter, you know what I mean? But should we look into the DNA? You know what I mean?
Right.
Just say if this Joker, go ahead. What you got?
And it's interesting. I was just actually about to do some group, and I was looking at something that says about when you said about a deadbeat, exploring our masculinity, and it talks about some things historically that men may learn. It talks about provider for a family, good father. It talks about being physically strong, scoring, get as many women as you can get. Never losing to a woman, being able to defend you being able to defend yourself in a fight, not being feminine, weak, or a wimp, stuff like that.
It puts you. I call it the man box. That's what I call it.
Yeah.
People know I use the man box.
Okay, so tell us what the man box is, please.
Are you saying that let me so I can understand what you're saying. But are you saying that that's what women are attracted to, or that's just how men is in this way? Because it is only going to sell if the woman attractive to it.
Answer the question.
What do you think?
I think we've all been bamboozled.
See how here she go avoiding the question. He asked you about the man box and men being attracted to. Please answer Antonio's question, please.
No, because of the subliminal messaging. We are bombarded by what we're supposed to like, what type, what is a man? Okay, so
she quick on her feet. That's a message. I didn't see that coming. That was good though.
That was good though. Every once in a while she'll catch us off guard.
She threw me off guard with just a little bit. That was good. That was good.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, but really, we are, and so women can potentially become actors or reinforcers. That's the word I'm looking for. Reinforcers of what's been culturally taught as what's right and what's wrong.
I agree.
So that's what I mean when I say we've all been bamboozled.
So have we lowered our standards then? Have we lowered? Cause we had someone who made the statement about being a deal breaker. That's not a deal breaker. So to our young generation, because you can't deal with the ones that's older now. It's like, dog, you can't teach, what is that? Old dog, new tricks. So you out there, you out there. But for the new heads, can we say that you need to change what the status quo, whatever you feel that your deal breaker may need to change?
So we got a comment.
Go, what do you got?
From Michaela. She says, question.
Shout out to you, Kayla.
Okay, question for the round table. What are the responsibilities of a parent after the child turns 18 years old? As far as the father.
As far as the father being in the child's life?
Well, for me, I can only say this for me. In terms of a son, they're becoming age, and I will use 21, where that son should be able to start beginning to be self-sufficient, where they're able to be more, and that's depending on the parent, where that child should be able to either be in school or working and have their own place at 21. I think that 18, they're still, and I use the word covering, they're still covering up. I know it is with the daughters until probably they even turn 25. But there should be a covering under the young man until he's at least 21. Now, that's just my perspective, where you continually drilling him about responsibility, about what it is to be a man. So 18, I still think you're in the learning phase. Now, if they go off to college, you only can do what you can do because they had college. You get what I mean? But you have to hope that what you instilled in him when he went to college, that it was enough. But,
so we got a comment.
And let me answer that one real quick. And to your point, you know, my responsibility, because when my son was under 18, it was more dictatorial. Right. You know, but you know, when he became 18, I became more of a consultant. So what he does now, like the other day, he said, "Dad," you know, he called me. You know, and plus another thing, you know, trust has to be established. So when he does become 18, he trusts my opinion, and I'm not going to judge him. And so he told me about a situation. He said, "Well, Dad, what do you think?" I said, "Have you thought about this? You know, if you decide to do this potentially, have you thought about the cost of these decisions?" Right. So like you said, I still cover my son in a mentoring consultant way, as opposed to, you know, when he was 5 and 6 years old. But I still, like you said, I still have a responsibility as his father. Right. You know, like the last thing, for example, I told him the other day, I have a, you know, granddaughter. And I said, "Well, I know you're working. He's in Georgia, and his daughter is in Virginia." And I said, "So if you let me know in advance, if it's something major at her school, let me know, and I'll try to get time to go down there to support my, you know, if you can't." So as a father, I still need to cover him, because it's important for her. If my son can't be there, I need to be to support him with my granddaughter.
And they respect that.
So we do have a comment from Luciana. She said, "Deadbeat dads juggle jobs, housing, self-care issues."
Deadbeat dads juggle that?
I like that.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Juggle. I don't know. She just said dead.
She's always had issues.
She
like what I'm saying. She always seems like they're always either deficient, either they're working or not working, don't have nowhere to stay. So deadbeats always are having it seems like a chronic issue with all those areas. What makes them deadbeat? They're unable to be stable in those 3 areas. You said housing, jobs, and self-care issues. And shout out to Luciana.
We respect that. I mean, and to some degree, I can get that, because I'm using the word juggle, because when I hear the word juggle, people be like, "Oh my God, I'm trying to juggle a job, I'm trying to go to school." And then they're doing the things, they just dealing with it. So I didn't understand the terminology when you say juggle. So, because juggle means you're involved. You just, it's so many things that's going on at one time. So I guess what she's saying, that they either complaining about these different situations in their lives.
There are always issues.
Yeah, there's always an issue where it's an excuse now. It becomes an excuse to say that
I can't get a job, or I can't keep this house.
You got some nicer earphones. You got some gold ones. All the rest of us.
No, actually, these are for
these look, you know.
I know he got the gold.
How nice
you know what I'm saying, right?
Mine is the other one. I just had time to plug them up. We had the reporter here the other day, and she had her own headphones on, so I took mine out. And I ain't had time to plug them all up. So these really the guest headphones.
Okay.
But I mean, it is what it is. You know what I mean? You know, deadbeat. This is the thing. We have to teach our kids to understand what that means, because a lot of times we're so busy attracted to what we see. You know what I mean?
But you would have to start that. And I think.
What age you think you start
that conversation? I'm just saying, there's a serious deconstruction that has to happen.
That's right.
Okay, right down to the Disney stories.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about, okay, a young girl shouldn't look at Cinderella, Snow White, all of the narratives that tell her when you grow up,
knight in shining armor.
Exactly. You're supposed to look for these type of things.
Right. But not in the thug thizzle. They doing it different. They looking for
that knight in shining armor in the hood.
I say he got braids. That don't determine.
Right.
He got saggy pants. They got a job. That ain't your knight in shining armor.
We never saw that in Snow White, Cinderella.
We sure enough didn't. He had a suit on and a tie.
That might be from mainstream culture, but even within ethnic cultures, there's still certain things that exist that describe that tell that story, that ingrain in our kids, like, this is what you should look for.
Right.
It took me to bump my head a few times to realize, like, just because you got a nice car, just because, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody want to have a pretty woman story, even though, you know what I'm saying?
That was big.
But it's like, no, because their personality can suck. They could have a nice car and be, I forgot the term, but all their money goes out into their bills.
But let me tell you this. Let me tell y'all something. But we seem like, and I don't know if you all experienced this, but when we had the longest running African American show in history, the Cosby Show, I knew some people around me. They was like offended that we had a show that showed two positive, you know, and people like. That's not. We were offended when we showed, you know, black folk being affluent and still can show because they were really cultured. I mean, they were really big on HBCUs and had some good. But we were mad.
That's right.
If it's not hood, we ain't happy.
That's 100%.
Yeah, that's so true.
The training of the
child.
My
goodness.
We have to do that, and it's so much of the Cosby that you can bring out. It's so much material in there. But I guess my thing is that we have to change that story. And I'm gonna throw this out there. We living in a time, and it's true, that we have a lot of single parents, and marriage is not looked upon as something that's just so. You know, the way we need to do it. And to some of the people, they don't even think it's righteous no more. But we have that where we have single parents. There's nothing wrong with being a single parent. I'm not saying that. But what happens is it's so much work that entails into training that child. Where it
sure is, because,
and a lot of times,
oh my goodness.
And it's a shame, the dude ain't never around. It's always the woman is around where she has to push out all of these, you know, trying to raise the child.
And same thing.
Nutrition.
That's true. And that's also the same thing with me. Like raising girls is different from raising boys, you know, and it's like, I know I could do it if I didn't have my husband, but it's just been like a really help. I'm talking about like a help that's, you know.
And I would say, I think what's going to be most beneficial for the child is having healthy bonds.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's true.
Marriage, like,
that's true.
That's right.
I respect it, but if the marriage is unhealthy and the child is in a home saying unhealthy things on a constant basis, that's just detrimental.
That's true. I've seen an article about that.
It's about
because you can be in a toxic relationship being married. That doesn't mean anything.
And that's where I was going to. What I was about to say, you just hit it on that. What I was about to say, it doesn't matter that you're a single parent. What matters is how you're training your child. What are you saying? And I know we can get, you know, it can be a little exhausting, you know, especially when you're a single parent. I do get that. But it doesn't take you away from your responsibilities and raising that child. And sometimes, let me ask y'all this. Do a lot of deals with economics. You know what I mean? Sometimes when you go, you don't want to throw this out there all the time, but, and I don't want it to be a stereotype, but when you go into certain communities where the money is not there, you know, it is what it is. The child is being raised a certain way. And sometimes that child is out there in the street hustling, you know, even at a young age, because the mother, you know, she laying around or she might be getting something going in, but the child is he raising himself.
Right.
You know what I mean? Absolutely. So do economics or does that have, come on, y'all supposed to be my professionals.
Absolutely.
Right, come on.
To deal with this? What do you think?
Go ahead.
No, because I want you to stay in your excuse zone. Go ahead.
No. What the question you asked absolutely has something to do with it. And I want to put a term out there called intersectionality by Kimberly Crenshaw. I believe Crenshaw. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Kimberly Crenshaw. But when you're talking about social determinants of health, things like race, religion, income, political status, those things that if you are not in like the popular or accepted of those, you're pushed further out in the margins. Okay, and so when you have to deal with issues, being in those margins kind of layers your issues, makes it even more difficult.
And that makes sense. It does make sense. And I'm not going to say no names. I know we on social media because trust me, I know a lot of situations going on. I mean, how can I? Okay. I know someone, he's young, had a horrible life. I'm using the word horrible. And now he's going away. You know what I mean? He's getting locked up. The father's not there. You know, the mother had to deal with him. And now he's going away. Now, when he comes out, if he don't have a mentor or somebody that can help him, chances are, what is the chances of him being a deadbeat?
I think it's high, and it's interesting you said that. I was doing some work, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
I know.
But, I'm thinking because of the big business of privatization of the prison systems. And so I'm sitting here, I'm doing some work, I'll just say it, for the state, and doing some contract work. So doing like some substance abuse. So the guys and the ladies will come out. So one thing would be when they came out, if they were doing group, some of them, don't have a support system, don't have transportation. So they say they need to get to their probation officer for urinalysis and things of that nature. So they can be in group, say from 9 a.m. to 10:30. And they have to be at the probation officer, say, at 11. But you can't get in the car with another felon to go to the probation officer, but they can be in group together.
Oh, that's
so
weird.
They're set up to, ultimately, at some point, they're going to violate. They're going to get locked up again. Another thing. So another thing they said, well, in group, they said, so these people, they're catching buses and to get to group because they're required to do it based on the conditions of their parole. So they can be, it has to be 3 people to be in a group. So if they've caught the bus and only 2 people show up, that's not supposed to count as a group. So that won't even count.
Oh, so
they came for nothing.
Oh, wow. So what is considered a group? How many people?
3 people.
Oh.
So when I think of those are things and a couple of other things like jobs.
Wow.
Like the people I was working with, this person said, well, I have a job. I want to switch from, because we had like different times of the week. They want to switch from one group to another group. This guy, he would be for no reason, because therapeutically we have a whole different vibe than the business person. And I'm like, why can't he switch groups? I mean, he's going to get, because he has to pay back, I think, restitution.
No.
So if he can switch groups so he can work, why are we creating barriers? Exactly. So I think the system is like, I want you to get locked up so we can generate more revenue. Until I start getting into that system, I'm like, so it increases the likelihood of, since I got to go back out in these streets.
So 702 guys.
Oh, absolutely. I think like you said about it makes it more difficult for them, the person to,
participate.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this real quick. Can you guys, I'm talking about you guys in general, can you change that? And what do you do knowing that this is something in terms of setup to fail? Is there anything that you can do to change that? I mean, what can you guys do, even if it's getting signatures or whatever to put on a ballot to change this? Is it anything that can happen, or you just let it go? What happens?
There's a lot that goes on out there, like the classes that you do when you bring up unhealthy masculinity and begin to, first of all, put it in a place where men can even give it a name and understand what it is and become more aware, so they can, perhaps with more education, when you know better, you do better.
That's right.
Make
That's right.
choices.
That's true. That's right.
I think that, like I said, in my world, one of the things we would do, one of the projects that I worked on is we would bring people from different sectors together at the table. And we would say, okay, let's look at everybody bring a policy within your organization to the table, and let's take a look at that policy and see how we can make it more inclusive.
Wow.
And you're getting these different perspectives, trying to make sure that the people at the table who are making decisions are diverse, so that we create the policies that live beyond the people, right? That those are inclusive policies and practices moving forward. So the needle is slow. Yeah. When you're dealing on that level, but you can do things that change, and
All
right,
awesome.
This, because my thing is this. Now I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna throw it out there because I always throw it out there. I wanted to do a documentary, The name of the documentary was going to be called, I'm throwing it out there, they can have it, Kids Raising Kids. And I wanted to put that documentary together because I believe that, you know, like you just said, they know better, they do better. I think that's excellent. And I want to put together a documentary like that. And, you know, we'll talk offline. But my thing is that I don't ever want to leave this podcast without, you know, I think that we had a lot of deeper education in this area where people were actually learning. Because shame on me if you're not learning anything. And that's what podcasts should be.
Yeah, most definitely.
So my thing is that, guys, listen, to my community out there, listen, it's going to take you. It's going to take you stepping up. It's going to take you as parents. You know, I know we get tired. I know we come home from work. Even we do work. But it's time that we step up and we take care of our kids. What am I saying? I know this subject is about deadbeats. But the only way they can be a deadbeat from what they've learned and what they're taught, what they've seen over the years, and it can just be misdirected. Yeah, I've had situations with my son. I had to talk to him, and he said, Dad, you know, I see it different now. Just because we just talked. And what if you did that? What if you, listen, what am I saying? So your son or your daughter won't be a deadbeat. You have to educate your children. You have to say that just because they look cute and cuddly means, oh, he can play on a video game this long, or he can do this, or she can do that. No, you have to stand up.
Set them boundaries.
Listen, this is going to be the rules, because guess what? In life, there are rules.
Yes, they are.
That's what I teach my son all day.
Yep.
In life, there's rules.
That's right.
And it starts here in this house. When you leave, you going to understand that it's going to be rules. And guess what? The world can care less about you. They're some of the coldest people out there. So if I don't deal with you and give you rules, how are you going to live when you get out there?
That's right.
So you can become a deadbeat.
That's right.
I just want to make a final comment too. RW3, you said something in the very beginning of the conversation about this lady and the situation, which is related to so the fact that she called him a deadbeat, she really needs to, the last thing she wants to do is marry somebody and have resentment.
That's right.
Right?
Right.
So if this is an issue for her now,
that's right.
they absolutely need to bring it up and talk about it before.
That's right.
I mean, so the question is like, only you can decide if you should marry him or not.
That's right.
But
that's
what
right.
we're telling you is that if this is an issue for you,
that's right.
You better talk about it.
You better talk about it.
And not ignore those red flags.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Shout out to you guys.
All right, guys. Thank you.
If you like this page, guys, I'm asking you again to share it. We ask you to like
Follow us on Instagram.
Listen, we like to thank all of the individuals who commented. We love you guys.
Thank you guys.
We thank you for the comments. So you guys, that's what we need. That's how we stay engaged, right?
Yes, most definitely.
We want to educate the community. Maybe some of you might know. Maybe you can tell us something we don't know.
Yes.
It's nothing wrong with that, but guys,
so
listen,
guys, we are going to be having you guys to be able to call in. So we're getting that all set up. We're going to be working on that. So we're going to need you guys to call in.
On that.
All right, guys. That's right.
Stay tuned, and guys,
stay tuned.
Be safe out there.
Yes.
And we love you. See you
Peace.
next Sunday.
3 strikes, I'm out.
Welcome to the Roundtable Podcast, E-Block. I'm your host, Chloe Brooke, bringing you the latest entertainment news from the Roundtable Podcast. Before the ball drops, make sure you share this video and follow the Roundtable Podcast on all social media platforms. Stay alert. The Roundtable Podcast E-Block starts now. Surviving R. Kelly Part 2, The Reckoning, premiered on Lifetime January 2nd. Now, this is a sequel to the original 6-hour docuseries that premiered in January of last year, and even more alleged victims have come to the forefront to share their stories involving the Grammy Award-winning artist. Like Tiffany Hawkins, who claims she brought teenagers to R. Kelly's studio in hopes to launch her career as a vocalist. R. Kelly still denies the allegations and is currently being held at Metropolitan Correctional Center in Chicago. I'm over this R. Kelly stuff. Listen, you can't drop your kids off at a 35-year-old man's studio and think that a huge career is going to come from that. That doesn't even sound natural. I don't see why a teenager is befriending A 35-year-old, I mean, think about it. Like, what does a teenager have in common with a 35-year-old man who sells sex in all of his music? Look, if he did the crime, then he's got to do the time, and I'm pretty much over it. I'm surviving R. Kelly. That's it for me. Headliners for one of the most popular California music festivals, Coachella, have been announced. Hip-hop artist Travis Scott, R&B sensation Frank Ocean, and rock artist Rage Against the Machine take the top spot as headliners for the 2020 Double Weekend Festival in Indigo, California. Coachella kicks off April 10th, and Weekend 1 is already sold out. Weekend 2 tickets go up for pre-sale on January 2nd. Now, that sounds like a pretty cool show, but if Beyonce isn't there, I won't be there. Marvel announced its very first Arab American superhero named Amulet, and the fictional character is born and raised in Dearborn, Michigan. Now, the superhero wears an amulet, which is a piece of jewelry that celebrates Arab American culture. The comic makes its debut in March. I think this was really cool for everyone, no matter what nationality and what ethnicity, to be reflected in the media. So it's a chance for you to see yourself in a positive light. Kudos to Marvel. Dreamville recording artist Ari Lennox, best known for hits like Break Me Off and Itchy Itchy Yaya or Shea Butter Baby. Yeah, you know who that is. Well, she recently was dragged on Twitter. Now, the Twitter trolls compared her and a fellow singer, Tiana Taylor's features to a Rottweiler. Ari Lennox tearfully took to Instagram saying, quote, "Why are you so comfortable tearing down black women and no other race? Look around. When are white or Hispanic women ever compared to dogs?" While wiping her tears, she also tweeted, quote, "People hate blackness so bad." And she encouraged black parents to reinforce their children's black beauty since the rest of the world is tearing them down. Now, I find this as an issue of self-hate because the person who's comparing her to a dog and Tiana Taylor to a dog is a black man. And it's like, well, you have the same features as her. And I think we just need to be aware of it when it's things that go on within our own community. Now, I'm all about uplifting and celebrating each other's features. I think Ari Lennox is an amazing artist, and she's gonna have haters. I think she should just sweat this one off and take it as free publicity, which is always a great thing. Rapper DaBaby is now in custody in Miami after allegedly attacking a promoter who paid DaBaby $20,000 for a performance fee when the original agreement was $30,000. According to Hip Hop DX, DaBaby and his group of friends allegedly attacked the promoter and another man and ran off with an iPhone 7, credit cards, and $80 in cash. The alleged victim also claims that he was soaked in apple juice. DaBaby remains in Guilford Knight Correctional Center in Miami on a battery charge. Now listen, these janky promoters, listen, pay these people what you owe them, okay? If you said $30,000, where is the other $10,000? Why is it $10,000? Why is it $20,000 when he shows up? I would be mad too. I mean, I wouldn't have took it that far, but he's mad. You got $10,000 of his money. So, free DaBaby. Well, that's it for this week's Roundtable's E-Block. I'm your host, Chloe Brooke, and you can catch the Roundtable podcast on Sundays at 4:30 on Facebook. Peace.